Okay, I'm Al, whatever, let's get to it.
Let's get to it.
Wait, that's my line. They're stealing my line, that is my thing. But anyway, this is going to be my spoiler, including discussion of Star Trek Discovery Episode 13, Coming Home, the Season 4 finale. So if you haven't seen it, this will contain spoilers. So everything's on the line, Tarka's doing bad stuff, all that thing that's been going on the last 4 or 5 weeks is still going on. But what an opening this episode has, and I'm not just talking about the VFX, we're getting Tilly back, we heard she was coming back. I'll be honest, I thought it might be next season. I didn't know if we were going to get her this season. I didn't see how they were going to squeeze her in, but it was such a good opener. And a flying starbase is clearly the answer to how you're going to fit Tilly back into this story. And man, it looked great. It reminded me of Stargate Atlantis. If you ever watched that, the final episode was something very similar. But the VFX in this episode overall are probably the best of the season, but I'll get to that in a minute. So they're helping to evacuate Earth and the VAR, but they can only save about 500,000 off each planet, which when you think about it isn't particularly high numbers. And yeah, it was an impressive opener, but this week has got a lot to live up to and it's got a lot of pace to pick up for the season. After last year about the burn reveal, this has got a huge weight of expectation on it, so does this episode deliver? I'm asking you, let me know in the comments below. But back on Discovery, they're doing science stuff to try and stop Tarka, and the 10C are hunting down Book and Tarka, and well, I suppose Jet as well, because she's still on the ship. And this episode again is packing in the visuals pretty much everywhere it can. And Michael knows that Disco's been sabotaged, and pretty much straight away the Earth representative fesses up, which I didn't see coming. But they're still all stuck, and the 10C have made contact telling them that they're free to go, but apparently they're still saying that they're stuck for some reason. And the Navarre president decides to do a mind meld, which goes pretty much as well as you'd expect. And Tarka doesn't really do anything bad this week, more a few odd things that are out of character. He gives Book this huge sales pitch about the alternative universe and how he wants to get there, and he seems to know a lot about it considering that he's never been, so yeah. But they do let Jet go, and Book gives Tarka a speech and he repents, because why wouldn't he? Stamets and Adira are back because they need to use a spore drive in this episode, and this is probably the most Stamets has been in Star Trek Discovery in about 6 or 7 episodes. He's pretty much taken a back seat since the second half of this season. And they have a plan to get out of the hyperfield, but it will involve burning out the spore drive, meaning that they're going to be decades from home. So straight away I thought, wait, are they rebooting this show as Star Trek Voyager next season? No. I'll get to that in a minute, but no, they're not, thank God. They might be rebooting TOS through Strange New Worlds though, think about that. I'm going to make a video, don't worry about it. So they come up with a plan to stop Book and Tarka up, and it ends up being a suicide mission, and Detmer volunteers straight away, but because, let's be honest, Star Trek can't kill a character, the Earth representative takes her place as a sort of redemption arc to sort of ram Book and Tarka's ship off course and cause enough damage to stop them, you know, going through with their dastardly deeds. And yet, this franchise is terrified of killing anyone, and that creates no tension at all. This is supposed to be the big finale, and again, the CGI and everything looks absolutely brilliant. So does the wall that they use later on in the episode, but there's just not enough tension here for me to be excited about. Because this feels like it's going to be the end of Book's chapter, no pun intended, and no one really seems that anxious about what's going on. So she manages to take them out, and of course Book and Tarka survive, and then Book gets killed in the most shit way possible in a transporter accident beaming back to the ship. So they've killed off their Han Solo of Star Trek, and he went out with a whimper and not a bang, and he definitely didn't shoot first. So yeah, I know I just said they had a big thing about not killing characters. I didn't think Book was going to make it to the end of the season, but I didn't think they were going to take him out like this. So the 10C make contact, and it's the last chance, and the visuals for the next 2 minutes are pretty solid here. We finally see the 10C in person, and yeah, I was right, man. They're absolutely huge. They're very Lovecraftian, if you know what I mean by that. If you don't, just Google it. And this is the first contact scene that we should have gotten last week. It would have really picked up the pace of this episode and freed it up a bit more if we'd got this all out the way last week. And also, why the entire bridge crew on this planet? You know, you knew this was coming, and I hate to be right about this, but it all gets resolved with a big speech because it had to be, I suppose. And what's more of a letdown is we don't really learn anything or much at all about the 10C beyond this, so I think this is a huge missed opportunity. And instead we get to hear about Michael's grief about Book. And oh, by the way, they didn't kill Book. Because this franchise, as I said 2 minutes ago, can't kill characters and can't build tension, so this was all a fake out. You need to pay attention, people. And I can't really handle it anymore, and Book gives another speech and he's empathetic again because of the story or whatever. So, the Earth stuff with Tilly and Vance is kind of okay till it's not. While all this is going on with Discovery, they're just sort of sitting about talking, and this scene about them talking and wasting time, if you ask me, is a huge metaphor for this entire season. That's all it's been. The pace has been ridiculous. They've had too many characters that they don't know what to do with. They've written characters out, brought characters back, taken them back out, introduced new characters, promoted background characters to be a bit more in the mainstream. And yeah, like, everything's here to make a good show, and that's the thing that annoys me about this show is I'm not angry at Discovery, I'm more disappointed in it. So, in conclusion, no deaths, big speeches, and huge aliens. So again, I hate to say I was right, and I think to say this is probably a letdown. The crew get home and everything's resolved because they don't have a budget for a CGI wormhole effect, which, fair enough, the rest of the episode looks brilliant. And then Tilly's back on board for at least a drink, and then something happens with the Vulcan and Saru. And it's been so long now, I don't really care. What about Michael and Book? It's all forgiven and forgotten. Earth rejoins the Federation, and the Earth representative isn't dead because nothing means anything. It doesn't matter. Yeah. But let me know what you think of the episode in the comments below, or you can follow me on Twitter at The Geeks Reviews. If you've made it this far, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching.